All right, so welcome to the overview for my project. It is a series of lessons focused on life skills designed for students who are in an essentials academics class in our virtual online high school. And so all students go to synchronous live lessons called Class Connects daily, and links to the Class Connects come up on their schedule through a platform called D2L. And when they click on the link, it takes them to one of these Blackboard Collaborate rooms. And then prior to their arriving, a teacher has loaded up content through a PowerPoint presentation into the room. So it's not ideal in some ways. When the PowerPoint gets loaded, it comes in almost like a PDF. So any kind of links, any kind of GIFs, anything like that that's added has to be done so after it's loaded into the room. But there are some interesting avenues for multimedia experiences within this older version of Blackboard Collaborate, and we'll go through some of those that are in the curriculum. So students are listed on this in this little area here, and I don't even and can be given privileges, microphone privileges, video permission where they can be recorded by their own camera and shown on the screen. They can have whiteboard privileges, which allows them to use these tools on the whiteboard to type or to paste in pictures or to use this little marker to indicate some kind of a preference. Students can also chat down here in the chat bar, and they can either chat with the room or they can chat privately with the moderator. And we can also application share, and that can be done to like share a PDF or to even share part of a website. But if you want a full website experience, you have to share via a web tour, and that allows the audio to come up as well. So let's see. The lesson is broken down into 7 1-hour-long segments. Each one starts just with this kind of an icon for objectives where we share our success criteria. And then this is just an example of how like you could add a GIF to any of the slides. I just pulled it over from the internet before I started. If I, some places where I would intend there to be some kind of animation like this, you could add the link in the notes section of the slides, so the instructor could have know where it's located beforehand. So what I have, how I teach with this format is that I have 2 screens. I have the PowerPoint uploaded on a larger screen that students can't see, and I house all of my links there for each screen, and I any kind of notes that I need or notes I provided for the instructor are housed there as well. So for instance, on a screen like this, students would be encouraged to paste an image of something that they would do for fun that requires practice. I added one kind of as a starter, but they could either use whiteboard tools to type something, or they could pull a picture, copy and paste a picture from the internet as well. Here's another way that students are able to interact with the content. Here they're asked to give their thoughts, and they can do it in a couple of ways. They can use their marker tool and kind of put it over where they feel their answer to a question would be, or they could even use a whiteboard tool and type something, like type their name, or they could use this kind of a stamper tool where they can pick something like a common symbol and put it there. And you'll see a lot of examples here in the slides of just interaction between graphics and text, and students interacting using their whiteboard tools. So this is just one place where the instructor has been given some instructions in the notes section of the slides, and then direct students to participate through using their whiteboard tools. Another example of that here. Okay, so this is an example. I'm going to cross my fingers here because Blackboard's been a little crazy today. But when this icon appears, there's a link in the notes section of a website. And this is the web tour tool. And hopefully this will lead us to this video that supports the content. We won't play it long. And so the instructor's interacting with this just like as if they were doing a website for themselves.
As you can see, I was born without fingers on my right hand, and
so when the video is over, everyone can be returned to this whiteboard screen. If for any reason that portion doesn't work, the instructor can provide a link either on this whiteboard or in the chat area that students can independently view the video. These were designed to occur synchronously. However, sessions are always recorded and can be accessed asynchronously at any time by any student who's invited to the class. So they would see the video come up just as their classmates did who were there. And then this is just an opportunity to provide feedback. I generally do it using a marker, but kids can write as well. And so you'll just see different opportunities for students to interact with text. And so that's one lesson. Of course, we'll go through these very quickly. This is some examples of conversations that are easy or difficult, and students can write in here where they think each conversation would lie. There's another video. This is practicing productive communication, and the instructor goes over it, and students can review these different emotions, and then they work as a class to make this script for different scenarios, ideally with students manipulating whiteboard tools to write in answers. Another video. This was an interesting way to use sound. We're talking about goals here, and student volunteers each make the sound into their microphone. We can also use a link here. Then we go on to learn about what is a goal. Students can link directly from here, or again, they can get a link through chat, or the teacher could also app share and go to the dictionary together, just depending on the needs of the students and abilities of the students in the class. And then again, they do it again in a certain order, and it sounds like a rainstorm. So kind of using sound to show how goal setting and steps are important. Another opportunity to write using the whiteboard tools. And so this is a fun way to manipulate the media and the whiteboard tools. Students are given the ability to move things around. So I actually had to come in here before and snip these each. And so students could decide in what order these things had to happen. Talking about kind of long-term goals like graduating and how you do short-term goals to get there, and mid-range goals. And so then they talk about a goal, and then they work on what would be an example of short-term, mid-range, and ways to get to your long-term goal. And then whenever this icon is shown, students are sent to a breakout room. And so the instructor can create a separate room for each kiddo and then load this slide up in the room. And then they are using whiteboard tools to answer the questions. And it's just a good kind of formative assessment opportunity. And then always a chance to ask questions that you might have and a review. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. We're 10 minutes in. Just opportunities to read. Students could read and the instructor could read. A different chance to go back to our Learner's Dictionary and write a definition for conflict. This is a graphic I created to just to initiate a conversation about how stress and conflict are related and how stress gives us more conflict, which gives us more stress. This is an opportunity to interact with the instructor in chat. And so the question posed to students at this point is talking with them about a situation that might have involved conflict. And so I thought that perhaps that's something that would be personal, and so they could use their private chat function. You can click on a person and get to do a private chat with them and just chat with the instructor about a time they had conflict and could share if they wanted. Then we were going to do some role plays using the mic and possibly using the webcam. And I think, it's up to the instructor just based on the abilities of the students or how the session is going that day on how much multimedia interaction they would want to use for the lesson. And then the other things I wanted to share, because it is a lot of repetition in how we're using multimedia. That was a little different. So I just wanted to show you the app share versus, here's a good infographic. The app share versus the web tour. So we're talking here about credit card debt, and I'm going to hopefully app share. All right, so what I have learned is that app sharing makes my little screen recorder go away. So what happens in an app share is, I'm not even sure. Let's see if I can just show you what it looks like. Every single app that's open on your computer can be shared, and it can be a PDF, it can be a website. Like I mentioned before, the kind of downside of the app share is you don't get the audio portion of a website for the kids. So we use a web tour if it's a video or something like that. But for something like this calculator, it's great to use an app share. What's really great is that if it's appropriate, the students can ask for permission to manipulate the website. And so if a student was able to do this and it was a good fit, they could actually request that privilege and be granted it and go into the feature here and then figure out what the interest and how long it would take to do this payment. And so just based on the ability of the student, either the teacher can app share and go through all of the portions, or she could give a link to the students and have them do it independently and come back with their information, or a student could be granted privileges and do it in the whiteboard. All right, I think that's just about it for, let me just quickly, so this is an example of a hyperlink that would be like a student might want to do independently, though again, the instructor could app share it or even web tour it, but the students could be asked to go do it and then come back. There's just lots of opportunities for, there's another video, and then just how to, and participating using text on the whiteboard. And these are 3 other hyperlinks, and there's instructions for the teacher on how to discuss them and facilitate some interaction about which might be helpful for a student and why. And then this is this wouldn't be shared with students, but this is a reference for the curriculum that I used to create this.